Hi, welcome to my channel, Canadian Madness. I just started this channel, and so I'm hoping that things will evolve and we can make this work. I am creating this channel because when I was younger, there was a radio station in my local community that used to have a show called Talkback. And this show had people call in to the radio station at a certain time of day. And the radio host would allow them to voice their concerns about things that were going on, whether it was in their city, their neighborhood, in their province. And people would call in and have their say, and they may have a lively back and forth with the radio host about the situation, and they didn't always agree. But it gave people a chance to actually have their own say about how they felt about how things were going. There were regular people who called into this radio show, and then there were people who just called in once in a while or for the first time and never did it again. But it seemed to spark conversation, and people would always talk about the shows. They would always say, "Did you hear Talkback today?" And they would have a lively conversation about how they felt about the situation that the person who was calling into the radio program would have spoken about. And so I got to thinking that there's a lot of people in this country that aren't able to have their say. They're not able to tell their story and their truth. So I'm hoping that with this channel, I can make it possible for people who want to speak their truth or tell their story to be able to. And while I'd like to have a situation where I have people call in and we could have a lively back and forth, that's kind of a hard model to recreate with the new age of technology, believe it or not. Because some of the platforms that I would air this program on have really strict rules about things that you can say and can't say. So it would be really hard to police that. So what I've actually come up with is an email address. And I'm hoping that people will be able to take the time to email me their story and let me know what they're concerned about. It may be something that they don't like. It may be a positive story that they have. Maybe they just want to tell a story about a positive experience they had, whether it's with healthcare or the education system, or maybe it's with federal government and finances, or some of the things that are going on right across the country right now, across the world. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of people paying attention to it, and there's a lot of people that feel a certain way about it. But some people don't feel comfortable speaking out publicly. So I'm hoping that if I give them an email address to write to me with their concerns, I can help them put a voice to those concerns. I know that a lot of people right now are very unhappy with the cost of living crisis, healthcare, education, so many things. There's so many things, and everybody has their own concerns about things that are going on. Everybody likes to feel like they have a say and have a voice. And I'm not saying that I will have answers, but sometimes if we even can have a voice to the things that we're concerned about or the things that we're happy about, then it makes us feel better. And so I'm hoping that maybe this show will help people do that. I'm also going to be talking about things that I personally am concerned about. My focus does tend to be on healthcare because that's where I spent the majority of my career. I'm a retired paramedic, I did it for a little over 20 years. And I'm retired due to injury. But I do see that the healthcare system is really struggling right now. And I think that that is so sad, because I was part of the system when it was growing and when it was developing. And that seems to have changed over the last number of years. And people are really struggling with that. And I know that there's a lot of people that have stories to tell about things that have happened in healthcare across our country. And I know that there are some people who have had very negative outcomes because of it. So if you have one of those stories, I would like to hear it. And I would like to help you have a voice. I also know that there's a lot of people in this country that have had problems with the education system, with the way that children are being educated across our country. And they're worried about those things. So I'm hoping to give those people a voice as well. If you have concerns about things that are going on in our country, I want you to feel comfortable with emailing me. The email address to tell me your story is canadianmadness1972@gmail.com. That email address is specifically for people who write in from this channel. Those emails will not go anywhere else. There will be no names assigned to stories that are told. Anything that you want to be held private will be held private. I believe in confidentiality for people, but I do believe that there are people who want to tell their story, who want to be heard. And so I'm hoping that maybe this is a way that I can bring that to people. I will be that medium that tells your story for you. So please feel free to reach out to me. Again, it's canadianmadness1972@gmail.com. In the meantime, until I get some stories coming in and until more people start watching these videos, I thought I would tell you a little bit about myself. As I mentioned, I'm a former paramedic in the province that I live in. I worked really, really hard to be a really good paramedic for my community and the people in it. I retired due to a back injury. I have 2 adult sons who I'm very proud of, both of whom are struggling with things that are going on, whether it's with the economy or the cost of living crisis, the job situation. It's been very hard for them. And I believe that it's been hard for a lot of people that are in their 20s and 30s that live here, that are just trying to establish themselves, get a home, start a family, all the things that people of my generation looked forward to. It seems like people of my children's generation aren't able to do that. I know that my oldest son especially would love to have kids someday, but right now that's not even on his radar. Just getting by every day is what he's most concerned about. And even if people do have a really good job and a good income right now, they're struggling. They're struggling with the cost of everything. Mortgages are going up because of the increase in inflation. The groceries cost a fortune. It costs a fortune. Electricity where I'm at is just, it's crazy. We have huge electricity bills here and people just can't afford it. I don't know what it's going to take to get that stuff to come down, But I know that steps have to be taken to do that, and it doesn't seem like we have a government right now that's interested in that. It seems like all the things that people are saying are just falling on deaf ears, and they keep repeating the same talking points over and over again, but things don't change. There are certain resources in this country that we need to tap into, that we need to access, that we need to get out to market so that we can make money for our country, so that people don't have to pay so much in income tax and property tax and all the rest of it. We need to be able to support ourselves as a country, and it seems like we have a government right now who's not interested in that, not for Canadians. It seems like it's all self-interest. I find that so sad, because that's not how Canada was supposed to work. We weren't built like that. We were built to look after one another. We were built to take care of one another and look after our neighbors. Unfortunately, right now, with the way that things are, it seems like it's every man for himself. We just get by. That's not what my grandparents and my parents envisioned for this country when they helped build it. So I'm hoping that by giving a voice to more people, we can finally maybe get somebody to start listening. I know that there are people across this country that really want things to get better. They really want to believe that things will improve, and I'm really hoping that those people are right. Right now, everything is a struggle. And I'm not saying that to be a naysayer or be a negative person. I'm saying that because it's true. People are struggling right now. Everybody is just trying to get by. And that's not fair, because there's a lot of people across this country who have worked really, really hard their whole lives. And now they have to pinch all their pennies and hope that they don't see the end of their money before they see the end of their life. And while that seems harsh to say, it's just the reality for so many people across this country. We have so many seniors right now that are just struggling to stay in their own homes and afford all the bills. We have people that are disabled that are really struggling right now because they can't afford the rents and they can't get groceries. I do have a son who has disabilities. So the other side of this is that I've really had struggles myself with the healthcare system. I do see a big decline in healthcare in our country. I see emergency rooms that are overrun. This started multiple years ago, but it only seems to be getting worse. We can't really seem to keep physicians and nurses here, or any of the other professions that we have that work in a hospital setting. It's very hard to retain people in Canada, mostly because it's so expensive to live here. Even if you have a six-figure job in this country, things are getting tight. Every time you go to the grocery store, it's $250 or more to get your groceries. It never used to be that way. I'm hoping that with my channel, Canadian Madness, I can bring light to these stories that people have from right across the country. And I'm really hoping that you'll trust me to help tell your story. The email address again is canadianmadness1972@gmail.com. I'm hoping that you will trust me to be able to tell your story.